Two rookies light up Lumen Field. A blocked field goal seals a deal. This preseason clash between the Seattle Seahawks and Las Vegas Raiders had everything fans could ask for. The game began with a jolt of energy as Seattle's George Holani exploded through the Raiders' defensive line for a 24-yard touchdown, putting the Seahawks in control early. The run wasn't just about the score. It was about establishing dominance in the trenches, showing that Seattle's run game was alive and well, even with a mix of starters and backups on the field. Holani's burst and vision immediately caught attention, setting the tone for an evening of unpredictable swings and standout moments. The Seahawks built on that early momentum in the second quarter with a display of offensive variety. Rookie wide receiver Tory Horton added to his growing camp hype by hauling in a precise 10-yard touchdown from Drew Lock, demonstrating crisp route running and secure hands in a congested red zone situation. Jason Myers followed up with a booming 48-yard field goal that extended Seattle's lead, showcasing why he remains one of the NFL's most dependable kickers. On the other side of the ball, the Seahawks defense was equally sharp, snagging 2 interceptions, one from Josh Jobe and another from Nehemiah Pritchett. The Raiders managed just 1 field goal in the half, a 48-yarder from Daniel Carlson. As the teams headed into halftime with Seattle leading 16-3, it was clear that the Seahawks' depth was winning the day. Coming out of the break, the Raiders began to find their rhythm. Aiden O'Connell connected with Dylan Lorby for a 6-yard touchdown pass, cutting into the deficit and giving Las Vegas a much-needed boost. The shift in energy was noticeable. Las Vegas was playing with urgency, and Seattle had to adapt quickly to maintain control. But this was also the moment where Seahawks rookie quarterback Jalen Milroe got a chance to shine. Milroe looked poised under pressure, completing 6 of 10 passes for 61 yards and flashing his mobility with a jaw-dropping 27-yard scramble. His dual-threat ability gave Seattle's offense a spark, and fans couldn't help but draw comparisons to the early days of Russell Wilson's career. The fourth quarter delivered the kind of drama preseason games rarely provide. Raiders kicker Daniel Carlson nailed a 56-yard field goal, showing off his elite range and narrowing the gap further. But the Seahawks struck back. Running back Jacardia Wright muscled his way into the end zone for a 1-yard score, capping a grinding drive that showcased Seattle's offensive line depth. Just when it seemed like Seattle might pull away again, Raiders quarterback Cam Miller launched a deep strike to Shedrick Jackson for a 41-yard touchdown, bringing the game within reach once more. Carlson then drilled a 51-yard field goal to tie the game at 23-23, setting up a tense final sequence. As the clock wound down, the Raiders had a golden opportunity to steal the win. Carlson lined up for a 55-yard game winner, a distance well within his range. But in a flash of pure effort and perfect timing, Seahawks defender Jalan Gaines burst through the line and got a hand on the ball, blocking the attempt and preserving the tie. The crowd erupted, not just because the kick was stopped, but because in a game that didn't count, the intensity felt like a playoff moment. Gaines' block instantly became one of the most memorable plays of the preseason. Rookie performances were the heartbeat of this game. Jalen Milroe's composure and athleticism had Seahawks fans buzzing about his long-term potential, while Tory Horton's knack for finding soft spots in coverage suggested he could be a reliable weapon sooner rather than later. George Holani's balance of power and agility added another intriguing layer to Seattle's running back rotation. For the Raiders, Aiden O'Connell showed command and accuracy, Cam Miller flashed big play ability, and Dylan Lorby proved he could be a red zone asset. Midway through the game, if you're enjoying this breakdown, make sure to hit like, drop your thoughts in the comments, especially your take on Milroe's performance. Share this with fellow football fans, and subscribe so you don't miss more game recaps and deep dives throughout the season. From a coaching perspective, this matchup was equally fascinating. New Seahawks head coach Mike Macdonald approached the game as both a test and an experiment, using situational rotations to evaluate depth while still playing to win. Across the field, Raiders head coach Pete Carroll's return to Seattle added emotional weight. Carroll's ability to rally his team after a slow first half was vintage him, and it gave Raiders fans a preview of how he'll shape their culture moving forward. The contrast in styles, Macdonald's analytical, detail-oriented adjustments versus Carroll's motivational, big-picture approach, made for a subtle chess match underneath the on-field fireworks. Special teams also had their say in this contest. Beyond Gaines' game-saving block, Myers' consistency and Carlson's long-range power kept the scoreboard moving when drives stalled. In preseason football, where every roster spot is up for grabs, these kinds of moments often determine who stays and who goes. Gaines' block, in particular, could be the player that cements his place on the 53-man roster. Looking ahead, the season outlook for both teams carries intrigue. The Seahawks' offensive depth looks promising, with multiple young players pushing for bigger roles. If Milroe continues to develop, he could make the quarterback conversation in Seattle far more interesting than expected. The Raiders, meanwhile, showed flashes of a balanced offense and a resilient defense. If O'Connell and Miller can complement each other's strengths, Las Vegas might have more flexibility at quarterback than many predicted. This game may not count in the standings, but it mattered in all the ways that shape a team's future. It revealed hidden strengths, exposed areas for improvement, and gave fans a taste of the narratives that will define the regular season. From the first snap to Gaines' block kick, the Seahawks and Raiders gave the NFL world a reminder that even in August, football can still take your breath away.